Everybody, it's time to Wake Up America! That's right, this is Thejazmiles, and sitting next to me is my man, Rick Donovan.
Yep.
How's it going, Rick?
We're doing great. How about you, brother?
Well, it's the end of October, it's the beginning of November, new month, but the story stays the same in some scenario.
Yep.
Last year and a half, that there is ample evidence of collusion in plain sight. Robert Mueller, the independent investigator, respected by everyone, said there was no collusion. Some of the dossier has been corroborated. The dossier, which really is got a lot of garbage in it, and Mueller found that to be the case. If you're talking about a series of emails, many of which are being classified retroactively, they weren't even classified at the time.
The FBI found that of the 30,000 emails Clinton turned over, 110 emails contained classified information at the time they were sent or received.
I say this only 7 times, so you better listen good. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent. Understand? Lots of it.
That was you making up dialogue, putting it in the president's mouth.
We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower.
The New York Times writes, House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff received an early account of the accusations against the president before the official whistleblower complaint was filed.
Yep.
But the president had a lot of great things going on over the past couple of weeks.
Terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He was the founder and leader of ISIS. It's my privilege to present our nation's highest and most revered military distinction, called the Congressional Medal of Honor. Please join me in welcoming today's extraordinary recipient, Master Sergeant Matthew Williams. In college, he planned to pursue a career in law enforcement, but after 9/11, Matt decided his place was on the front lines of the war on terror. For more than a decade, Matt has stared down our enemies, fought back the forces of terror, and exemplified the virtue and gallantry of the American warrior. Matt, we salute your unyielding service, your unbreakable resolve, and your untiring devotion to our great nation. Your spirit keeps our flag waving high, our families safe at home, and our hearts beating with American pride. On behalf of the entire nation, we are forever grateful for your life and service and your outstanding courage. To celebrate a World Series win for the ages. This is really something that was very special. Adam Eaton. And you won the trophy, and you won the World Series, and you're champions, frankly, of the world. The whole world is talking about it. It was very exciting. It was great. Even if you're a non-baseball fan, and I am a total baseball fan. As Dave Martinez said, often bumpy roads lead to beautiful places. That's right. That's really I'm shocked. Yes, go ahead. Well, the whistleblower gave a very inaccurate report. And as you know, certain of the media released information about a man that they said was the whistleblower.
Yeah, especially Medal of Honor also,
Yep, absolutely.
Ceremony. The guy really takes care of the vets,
So on our last episode that we filmed together, we talked about a little thing called a caliphate. We talked about 3 leaders being taken out, one being put in charge.
Yep.
How Syria, Russia, and Gaddafi, even when he was alive, was helping us take out ISIS. And then our president comes on television and says this.
A brutal killer, one who has caused so much hardship and death, has violently been eliminated. He will never again harm another innocent man, woman, or child. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. The world is now a much safer place. He was a sick and depraved man, and now he's gone. Baghdadi was vicious and violent, and he died in a vicious and violent way as a coward, running and crying. This raid was impeccable and could only have taken place with the acknowledgement and help of certain other nations and people. I want to thank the nations of Russia, Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, and I also want to thank the Syrian Kurds for certain support they were able to give us.
That we got Baghdadi.
Yep.
Yep.
And you know what? And then look at it. You figure, well, when Obama took over and he got Bin Laden, there was like
Fireworks and celebration.
Yeah, all this. But now, Trump gets just Baghdadi, and it's like I'm hearing crickets from CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, and all your other liberal tard networks.
And you know what Trump heard? He heard whimpering and crying.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the media's upset that Trump is pointing out the fact that a brave leader died whimpering and crying?
Yeah, it's just such a sham, man, on the liberal media, But we're going to get into that.
And once again, so I know you're going to get into something where you had to straighten out a hairdresser about the Russian reset, or a lady cutting hair. But we also have to remind people that all of this ISIS stuff started from, John McCain, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama, with Joe Biden leaving all those weapons in Iraq.
The president today welcomed the end of the war in Iraq, with all U.S. troops due to leave before the month is out. He also acknowledged the costs of the long conflict.
And on behalf of a grateful nation, I'm proud to finally say these two words, and I know your families agree. Welcome home. Welcome home.
It was a homecoming, complete with a commander-in-chief for the latest detachments of troops arriving back at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. President Obama praised the efforts of 1.5 million Americans who've served in Iraq since 2003.
We're building a new partnership between our nations. And we are ending a war, not with a final battle, but with a final march toward home. This is an extraordinary achievement. Nearly 9 years in the making. And today we remember everything that you did to make it possible.
That effort came at a high price in blood and treasure. The president said the United States spent more than $1 trillion on the war, although many war critics contend the real figure is far higher. And there is the human cost of years of fighting, with nearly 4,500 American dead. And the president said the toll on thousands of military families.
So there have been missed birthday parties and graduations. There are bills to pay and jobs that have to be juggled while picking up the kids. For every soldier that goes on patrol, there are the husbands and the wives, the mothers, the fathers, the sons, the daughters, praying that they come back.
But as the Iraq conflict finally comes to a close, the fighting goes on in Afghanistan. U.S. forces have already begun withdrawing from Afghanistan, but there too the costs continue to climb, with more than 1,800 Americans killed since 2001. As combat forces leave Iraq, one major challenge remains: what to do with all the equipment, military vehicles, and bases left behind. We look at what's involved.
Yeah, because they wanted to, save some fuel.
Right.
What a BS. We know, Obama, you just gave it to ISIS. Come on. You just wanted to be the little horn, as we talked about.
Yep.
The caliphate.
Our last show was so spot on about that whole situation, and the president to come on and say that we got Baghdadi. And then privately, even the day before that announcement came, Rick, privately, you and I were together having a production meeting, and you mentioned about how their whole culture don't take the dogs very well. And the president comes on the next day saying that he was hunted down like a dog by a dog.
By a dog, that's correct. I don't know what the deal is with Muslims and dogs, but they don't like dogs, and I've seen some gruesome things on YouTube, what they do. I can't pinpoint them all, but You know, when you take a dog, you tie it to a pole and you set it on fire. Jesus Christ, you take a dog and you tie it to a pole and you beat it down and you kill it with a baseball bat. What sick human son of a bitches are you? You know?
Yeah.
It's an animal, for God's sakes.
So our president being a king of irony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tracked him down with a dog.
So I just
I've even heard some other thing. There was just some little tidbit in the news about this Muslim community don't like Americans walking their dogs down the street.
Oh, well,
I mean, Jesus Christ already.
Then they need to go back to a community where they don't have dogs and they walk down the
back
street.
there in the sand where all the camels are, you know.
But hey, you ever used to watch Benny Hill?
Oh, I love Benny Hill.
I wonder if this girl in Congress is his niece, Miss Hill herself, running around.
Oh, yeah.
Officially resigned from Congress. Oh, moment of silence for Katie. Okay, that's enough. After it was revealed that she had a sexual relationship with one of her staffers. Now, despite this being against the rules of Congress, Katie wants you to know that she's the real victim here of us.
I am leaving now because of a double standard. I'm leaving because I no longer want to be used as a bargaining chip. I'm leaving because I didn't want to be peddled by papers and blogs and websites used by shameless operatives for the dirtiest gutter politics that I've ever seen, and the right-wing media to drive clicks and expand their audience by distributing intimate photos of me taken without my knowledge, let alone my consent, for the sexual entertainment of millions.
Oh, gosh, don't you hate it when, right-wing media makes you take all of your clothes off and have sex with staffers? Gosh, so rude. Girlfriend, you can blame right-wing media all you'd like, but the truth is, this is your standard. This is quite literally the opposite of a double standard. This is your standard being applied equally to you. You don't get a free pass just because you're a chick. You know, equal rights and all. And by the way, in case you wondered whether Democrats actually care about the Me Too movement, their silence on Katie Hill right here pretty much seals the deal on that one. Wasn't it just last year when they were all like, you're a rapist if you use the power of your position to have sex with someone younger or a subordinate. It's called power dynamic rape, duh. But now when a female does it, she just, gets to blame everybody else. Just like a woman. That is the double standard here. Girl, you aren't forced to leave Congress because you like to get freaky. You aren't forced to leave Congress because you like to apparently prance around naked all the time and smoke pot. No one cares about your sexuality. You were forced to leave because you did these things with staffers, which is against the rules of Congress. The pictures simply proved your guilt. Okay, Cupcake, so now that that's all cleared up, so long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
What's up, everybody? Don't forget to follow and like my page. You can find me all over social media at Sarah Gonzalez TX. And don't forget to subscribe to my new YouTube channel, Sarah Gonzalez Unfiltered. Go there now. Go, go, go.
Yeah, she's spooning her garbage too, you know.
Spooning garbage?
I just seen her, yeah, you know.
Spooning garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so appropriate. So she just resigned, but of course she cast her vote towards impeachment inquiry before she resigned, but she resigned over some sexual exploitations that she's blaming on her ex-husband.
Yeah, you know, it's like, to be honest, there's beautiful women out there, and but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to look at her naked ass. She doesn't do nothing for me.
The overall problem is that she is alleged of having a sexual situation of some staffer.
Yeah.
So she's still the superior or the boss in the situation, putting an underling, if you will, in a compromising scenario.
Yep.
So it basically forced her resignation and is going to bring up an inquiry on her own on ethics.
Yeah, and if I was her husband, I'd try to take her for everything.
Yeah, now her personal life, though, all that's fine. It's just the part that's bringing her up on...
the thing is, they want to bring up Trump's personal life.
Exactly. So that's the part I was getting at. Oh, somebody sent you a gift, Rick. I didn't get to... I don't know if you want it in this segment or the next one, but let me explain that if you want to put that up right quick.
Fats?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it's not fats. It's for all Trump syndromes. So if you got a Trump syndrome out there... Rick has something for you.
Yeah, you know.
And I'm about to give it to you, Rick, because you came in fired up.
Yeah.
You came in fired up. I had to calm Rick down a little bit, but in about 15
Speaking of fired
seconds.
up, man, check out the shirt, because I am flaming mad today about this impeachment bullshit.
Right. Well, hold on a second. We'll be right back with that. Right back here on Wake Up America. Rick Donovan solo for you, the people. Stay tuned.
It allows the chair to veto even the ability for the president to have legal counsel in the room. If the chair chooses at his whim, they can literally kick out the president's legal counsel. This is unprecedented. It's not only unprecedented, this is Soviet-style rules. Maybe in the Soviet Union, you do things like this, where only you make the rules, where you reject the ability for the person you're accusing to even be in the room, to question what's going on. For anybody else to call witnesses, when only one person has the right to call witnesses. And as we saw just the other day, the chairman was literally directing the witness to not answer certain questions by the Republicans. What kind of fairness is that? Maybe you think it's fairness if you can run roughshod over somebody because you've got the votes, but that's not how impeachment was supposed to go. In fact, Alexander Hamilton himself, during the debate on the Constitution in the Federalist Papers, Alexander Hamilton warned of days like this, and I quote, "The greatest danger is that the decision on impeachment will be regulated more by the comparative strength of parties than by the real demonstrations of innocence or guilt." Alexander Hamilton warned about days like today. This is not what we should be doing. Clearly, when you ask the American people who know that they're paying higher drug prices, and they see that there's legislation, bipartisan legislation to lower drug prices, that won't come to this floor because of the infatuation with impeachment. We don't even have a bill to formally pay our troops and make sure they have the tools they need to defend this country because there's such an infatuation with impeachment. Madam Speaker, when you look through this resolution and you see how one-sided, how Soviet-style this is running, this is the United States of America. Don't run a sham process, a tainted process like this resolution ensures. It ought to be rejected, and I think you'll see bipartisan rejection of this resolution, and I yield back the balance of my time.
There you have it. Question, especially to my colleagues. Is that what is happening here today? Are we gathered in these final moments before we depart for a week to fund our government, to pay our troops? Are we gathered today to approve a new trade deal? Or are we gathered to debate the critical national security issues regarding China or Iran? Well, that answer would be unanimously no. We are not working for the American people. Those items would resemble the achievements of a productive Congress, a Congress that truly works for the people. But you know what this Congress counts? This Congress records is more subpoenas than laws. That's the legacy. It is not just devoid of solutions for the American people. It is now abusing its power to discredit democracy. By using secret interviews and selective leaks to portray the president's legitimate actions as an impeachable offense. Democrats are continuing their permanent campaign to undermine his legitimacy. For the last 3 years, they have predetermined the president's guilt. They have never accepted the voters' choice to make him president. So for 37 days and counting, they have run an unprecedented, undemocratic, and unfair investigation. This resolution today only makes it worse. I've heard members on the other side say they promise rights to the president, but only
Here we are, to Wake Up America. Boy, I got some news for you. I'm tired of this impeachment bullshit. And I said, so here we go. Finally, the Republicans are taking a stand collectively against this impeachment process, this false narrative, and everything else that they're trying to accuse our president of.
Here we are again in Washington, D.C., when we should be doing the people's business, and now we've had another change of heart by Speaker Pelosi, who's now decided that everything that they've been doing for the last 3 weeks was wrong. We've been telling them it's wrong. We gave them plenty of notice that it was wrong and not fair to the American people or fair to the president. So now she's decided that the Republicans are really wrong, but we're going to vote to do something. We haven't seen the text yet. In fact, they had to write it all out last night. That shows you how desperate they are. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. This is a sham. It's not good. This is something to simply cover their problems that they've had with this investigation all along, putting Adam Schiff in a closed room, leaking out stuff that he wants to leak out, and making it appear to be something it's not. We'll see the Republicans vote against this because, again, you can't fix what the craziness that they've done over the past 3 or 4 weeks to slam this president and do what they have been doing and now try to make it better. This is not a make it better. This is something that they've brought on themselves, and now they're just trying to fix.
I says Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Nadler, and all these other pathetic lying Democrats in Congress are hell-bent from the day one that our president became president, President Trump. Republicans are demanding due process from Adam Schiff.
One point I think that needs to be made on top of what Jim said just happened today. Adam Schiff, among many things, has been trying to claim that this is a fair process by saying that Republicans are allowed to ask questions. Now, he gets to choose all the witnesses, and him and himself only, which means it's not a fair process on the face. But even his claim now that Republicans can ask questions has been undermined because now he's directing witnesses not to answer questions that he doesn't want the witness to answer if they're asked by Republicans. He's not cut off one Democrat. He's not interrupted one Democrat and told the witness not to answer Democrat members' questions. But today he started telling the witness not to answer questions by certain Republicans. That reeks, and by the way, if you want to talk about a Soviet-style process, again, that might be what they do in the Soviet Union, not in the United States of America. We can't stand for this. The American people are being denied equal justice. And so today they filed a resolution. And the resolution that was filed today, in and of itself, according to Speaker Pelosi, affirms the Soviet-style process that's been going on and continues to deny due process and equal access to both sides until Adam Schiff is completed with his secret meetings. In fact, it continues to deny the White House an opportunity to participate in the process.
Of course, the president isn't above the law, but neither is pencil neck Adam Schiff.
At the start of every single one, he says this is not classified. He tells us that. The witness has their counsel there, their lawyer there. They don't need Adam Schiff being chairman and lawyer. But that's in effect what happened today. And he would not let the witness. And look, the Democrats run out here and say, oh, the Republicans are trying to figure out who the whistleblower is. We're trying to figure out who a witness list is. The resolution that the Speaker has just filed, at some point she points this out in the resolution, this is going to go to the Judiciary Committee, if in fact they push it there. There will be witnesses called. We'd like to figure out who those witnesses should be so the American people can get the facts, get the truth, and we know who these individuals are. So that it seems interesting to me that chairmanship is so sensitive. I mean, pointed out last week, there are 435 members of Congress. One of them, only one.
So, the president has the right to face his accusers, the right to object to their evidence, the ability to rebuttal witnesses, to attend hearings, and so do the Republicans. But Adam Schiff locked the door. They had their own little meeting without any Republicans.
Down the fake media every day. But Congress needs to step up and have equal courage to defend the president. Hunter Biden made $50,000 a month. That's the definition of corruption. We know he got it only because of his family connections. We also now know the name of the whistleblower. The whistleblower needs to come before Congress as a material witness because he worked for Joe Biden at the same time Hunter Biden was getting money from corrupt oligarchs. I say tonight to the media, do your job and print his name. And I say this to my fellow colleagues in Congress, to every Republican in Washington: step up and subpoena Hunter Biden and subpoena the whistleblower. And I say to my colleagues, if Shifty Schiff will not let Hunter Biden come, and if he will not bring the whistleblower forward, every Republican in Congress should take a walk and say, this is a farce.
And you know what? This due process is the same for you and I and every other American. And what they're doing to the man is just outright dirty. So, here we got the Dem Congress is like an angry mob with a willing liberal media machine promoting this twisted version of the impeachment process. This impeachment coup didn't start 2 months ago, as I said earlier. It started from the day he took office. Let's go, the failed Russian collusion story, the Vendetti incident, and now they're stating a quid pro quo lie that Trump and Zelensky are trying to take out Joe Biden. I says, listen, really? Adam Schiff, you know, he recently grabbed a witness, Laura Cooper, and he left with her.
With the Clinton impeachment, with the Nixon impeachment, Republican and Democrat alike, both sides were treated equally. Both sides could call witnesses. President's legal counsel was in the room, not at the discretion of the chair, but because it's fair. And so when you look at this Soviet-style process, it shows you that they don't really want to get to the truth. They want to remove a sitting president. In fact, the author of the articles of impeachment said, if they don't impeach the president, he will get reelected. Now, that's not why we have impeachment. Alexander Hamilton made it very clear. His concern when they were trying to promote the Constitution was that he didn't want to see impeachment used for political purposes. Yet that's what happened today. He predicted.
But Cooper is a Pentagon official and is subject to oversight by the Armed Service Committee members to question her. And what is Schiff doing? Why'd she pull her to the side? Is Schiff trying to, to save his ass along with 3 years of lies from the angry Democratic mob of Congress? Remember, we talked about CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity firm that examined the DNC server that was allegedly hacked by the Russians.
In 2016, we actually performed the DNC investigation. We worked very closely with the FBI, turned over all the forensic data. We're certainly nonpartisan, so we help all sides of the aisle and work closely with lots of state, local, and federal government agencies to make sure that they have the best security in place.
Well, you're going to find out that this is all going to come right back on the Democrats. Believe me. Now, all of America knows any impeachment mode based on this process is just wrong. I mean, at least the conservatives. As in Adam Schiff, his parody of the President Trump's conversation is parody, what he thinks. And matter of fact, that's the opinion of all these liberal media guys. Their opinion. There's nothing in stone, there's nothing, no hard evidence, and they can't do anything to the man. I said, you're going to find out anyway, it's going to get turned down on the Senate vote. Well, listen, the real story that's being covered up by all this impeachment on Trump is what Joe Biden did as vice president.
So let's dig into what we do know about the Bidens, China, and their business dealings. In December 2013, then Vice President Joe Biden went on a 6-day trip through Asia, including a stop in China. He was accompanied by his son Hunter Biden and his granddaughter Finnegan Biden. Less than 2 weeks after that trip, BHR Partners was launched, a private equity firm funded in part by Chinese banks. Hunter Biden was an unpaid board member. President Trump and his allies have alleged that that business deal put $1.5 billion in Hunter Biden's pocket. But the former vice president's son didn't have a financial stake in the company until after his father was out of office. It's also worth noting that the negotiations for BHR started months before that December trip to China, something Hunter Biden's attorney confirmed to our partners at PolitiFact.
Well, I would think that if they were honest about it, they'd start a major investigation into the Bidens. It's a very simple answer. They should investigate the Bidens, because how does a company that's newly formed, and all these companies, if you look at, and by the way, likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine. So I would say that President Zelensky, if it were me, I would recommend that they start an investigation into the Bidens, because nobody has any doubt that they weren't crooked. That was a crooked deal, 100%. He had no knowledge of energy, didn't know the first thing about it. All of a sudden he's getting $50,000 a month, plus a lot of other things. Nobody has any doubt. And they got rid of a prosecutor who was a very tough prosecutor. They got rid of him. Now they're trying to make it the opposite way, but they got rid. So if I were the president, I would certainly recommend that of Ukraine.
I'm not going to make any comment on the testimony. I won't have anything to say until the testimony is completed. I do want to say this, though, that once again, have the President of the United States suggesting, urging a foreign country to interfere in our presidential elections is an illustration that this president who's learned anything from the 2 years of the Mueller investigation is that he feels he can do anything with impunity. The President of the United States is urging a foreign nation to interfere again to help his campaign by investigating Iran is a fundamental breach of the President's oath of office. It endangers our elections, it endangers our national security. It ought to be condemned by every member of this body, Democrats and Republicans alike. What do you think?
Joe Biden was sitting right there in the Council of Foreign Affairs. He bragged about how he forced Ukrainian top officials to fire a Ukrainian prosecutor named Viktor Shokin. And if he would not fire Shokin, who had dirt on his son Hunter Biden for wrongdoings with Burisma Holdings, he said that he would hold $1 billion of U.S. loan guarantees from Ukraine.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Pro quo, I don't know what it is. You know, the Ukrainian prosecutor did have dirt on the son of Hunter Biden. So where's CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, and all you other liberals news stations on the real story? There was no quid pro quo with our President Trump, but there was a quid pro quo with Joe Biden as he sat as the acting voted in Vice President of the United States. And believe me, don't tell me Obama doesn't know anything about this. Or where the hell are you, man? You're just hiding in the background somewhere watching all this unfold. Well, I'll tell you what, A.G. Barr, now he recently came forward and he says he's going to be doing some criminal investigations and there might be criminal charges that he's going to be finding out about all this garbage. So, the cabal.
Agree that now
totally.
The impeachment inquiry is underway, sparked by a complaint from someone within the intelligence community. It feeds the president's concern and often used term about a deep state being there to take him out.
Thank God for the deep state. I mean, I think, everyone here has seen this progression of diplomats and intelligence officers and White House people trooping up to Capitol Hill right now and saying, these are people who are doing their duty, who are responding to a higher call. It doesn't, I guess it doesn't, well, think about it for a minute. With all of the people who knew what was going on here, it took an intelligence officer to step forward and say something about it, which was the trigger that then unleashed everything else. Now, why does that happen? Tell American people why that happens is this is the institution in the U.S. government that, with all of its flaws, and it makes mistakes, is institutionally committed to objectivity and to telling the truth. It is one of the few institutions in Washington that is not in a chain of command that makes or implements policy. Its whole job is to speak the truth. It's engraved in marble in the lobby.
Mr. Trump has this very contentious relationship with CIA and FBI and the deep state people.
And you.
And me, yeah.
Specifically you.
I've heard
He's
that,
talking
yes.
to you.
Is because they tell the truth. Because they cannot be manipulated like clay in his hands. Because they will stand up and speak out when things are wrong.
Which I call it, by the DNC Congress, has thrown a wrecking ball into all our constitutions, the trust that we have in the DOJ, the FBI, every aspect of government, And I personally believe it all started when Bill Clinton lied in front of Congress way back when with the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
People, wake up, What else are they feeding you? Matter of fact, I did get my hair cut today, like we mentioned earlier. And the woman doing my hair right out the bat, she says she hates Trump. I ask her why. Well, he's stupid. And she likes Hillary. I told her, I says, well, really? I says, if anybody was dealing with Russia, it was Hillary. Go to Russian reset, I told the lady.
Important meeting and our time here together. I wanted to present you with a little gift which represents what President Obama and Vice President Biden and I have been saying. And that is, we want to reset our relationship. And
let's do it together.
So we will do it together, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We worked hard to get the right Russian word. Do you think we got it?
You get it wrong.
I got it wrong.
It should be перезагрузка. And this says перегрузка, which means overcharged.
Well, we won't let you do that to us, I promise.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
very
much.
Very kind of you. Would be on my desk.
Well, we mean it and we look forward to it.
That. I go, well, she gave all these brand new computers to Russia, just like Silicon Valley. It's hard for people that are so brainwashed because they watch CNN. Another thing, too, is CNN is everywhere. Go to Walmart, CNN. You go to this place, CNN. Everything's CNN on TV. But yet their ratings suck. The only reason they got ratings is because it's on every damn TV everywhere. you know, and not Fox News. Well, now, look what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. Supposedly hung himself in prison. Yeah, okay, well, somebody just came forward saying that it looks more like a homicide.
We had this bombshell claim this morning from Dr. Michael Barden, and he's a forensic pathologist hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother to determine the cause of Epstein's death. Now, just listen for a moment to what he had to say earlier this morning. Roll tape.
I think that the evidence points toward homicide rather than suicide.
Why?
Because there are multiple 3 fractures in the hyoid bone, the thyroid cartilage, that are very unusual for suicide and more indicative of strangulation, homicidal strangulation.
Okay, he says it's murder. The autopsy had ruled it was a suicide.
I say bullshit too. I says the man's still alive somewhere on this planet. But this new impeachment story covered the Epstein story up. You know, that's what they do, diversion. Okay? But the real thing here is that, you know, this pedophilia ring, human trafficking, and all this, stuff, abusing children, yeah, you know, that was going to be uncovered through Epstein, because Epstein, he invited Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton 26 times went to Epstein Island. I says, he's got ties with Governor Cuomo, Alec Baldwin. I said, and numerous other, you know, Hollywood scumbags, you know, and this is the real story. I mean, look at Senator Schumer took money from, as we covered earlier, from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein served 2 years in jail. Really? You're so smart, Senator? Now you're trying to get rid of this $22,000. It's maybe even more. Who knows? I said, you know, why ain't the liberal media covering that?
Jenny Roberts, we would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed, because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying, there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
Testimony about to give away the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Yes, I did. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air.
That's tape leaked to us by our latest network insider. This brave insider works at ABC News. ABC News anchorwoman Amy Robach is talking to her producer on a hot mic. She says she had the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years ago, and her bosses at ABC News spiked it.
And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal.
Our insider told us this tape was recorded earlier this year in late August. a day or so after this NPR report came out sharply criticizing ABC News for not broadcasting the Robach-Giuffre interview years ago.
ABC has episodically covered the scandal, yet the interview was never broadcast, and Giuffre says she was never told why.
Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying, there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
But the creepy thing is that we would make access to all of these high-profile people.
Well, then I got a little concerned about why I couldn't get on.
On the leaked insider tape, Amy Robach says she had the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years prior, but her exclusive interview was shelved. Robach says in the leaked tape there was a lot of pressure from Buckingham Palace. According to NPR, the famed lawyer Alan Dershowitz also pressured the network to kill the story.
Shortly before the interview was due to air, Harvard Emeritus Law Professor Alan Dershowitz called the network. He was also one of Epstein's lead defense attorneys.
We wonder if the story was killed to protect the rich and powerful. It seems few were worried about protecting the women who may have been Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Remember, Epstein was still a free man 3 years ago. And just to be clear, the interview has still not aired. What is ABC News waiting for, or who are they still protecting?
She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything.
Robach also has no doubt about what happened to Epstein when he finally was arrested and jailed.
So, do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. Yeah. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
When I heard he was found dead, someone was funny.
I knew immediately. And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all to plant the seed, and then that's why I really believe it. Really believe it.
The last of the leaked tape has Robach talking about alleged Epstein conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell and how she should be very careful.
He's got to have evidence unexplained.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell, who I had all sorts of stuff on her too. I love it. I'm it's so funny to hear everyone say her name now because I'm oh my God, I had all that, and everyone was who's that? Who cares? I kept getting that. Who cares? She knows everything. She knows. She should be careful. Well, she was she went out and recruited all of these girls.
Stand by.
She should watch her back. Because if she goes, I'd have security guards all around me.
The brave insider who leaked this tape to us does not know who at ABC News spiked the story, but someone at ABC does. Our question: who killed the Epstein story at ABC News and why? Help us find out. James Goldston is the president of ABC News. What did he know? And when did he know it? Here's the landline number for ABC News President Goldston and his Twitter account. If you're an insider at ABC News or any other major media outlet or big tech company and you have seen corruption or bias, contact us at projectveritas.com/brave.
Be a catalyst for change. Be brave. Do something.
President Trump, I truly believe he knows all the players, around Epstein, Oh, and today, Governor Cuomo, he's bashing Trump because he wants to move to Florida. You know what? If I was retired, I'd move to Florida too, And he's not trying to hide his assets or his tax returns, But what are you trying to hide there, Governor Cuomo? Hey, what about the $1 billion deal that we had over here on the waterfront? You know, with Solar City. You know, what about all that? And what about, hey, when you wanted to do the, you wanted to find all the dirt on all these people and politicians, but it came up to you, you cut it dry. No. And another thing too, the guy that irks me the most is that pencil neck Adam Schiff. You know, why aren't we covering his organization called Little Kids? You know, that would, you know, had something to do with massaging young children or whatever, you know, back rubs, I don't know what it was, but right now there's some numerous people who are kids that accused him of pedophilia, and he paid them off. I understand that he paid them off through with our government money. You know, it's time to wake up, America. You know, I don't know what else to say. I says, but oh, let's not forget local Congressman Brian Higgins. You know what? I said, when you want to come forward and say that our president committed a federal crime, are you out of your mind? You know, are you out of your mind, Brian? You know, Higgins stated President Trump was using congressional approved foreign aid to an important ally for personal gain. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? Isn't that what Joe Biden did? You know what? That's what I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you congressmen like you, Higgins. You know, matter of fact, you know, I did go to the hairstyler today. Maybe she can fix your hair. You know? All right? But anyway, not to be rude, but you know what? You're rude to my president. I'm going to be rude to you. You know? So the corruption Congressman Higgins, the quid pro quo that was used by an elected official is Joe Biden. But you don't have the balls to see that. You know, you just want to cover up and, you know, the same narrative. Now all you Democrats are hiding behind the flag and the Constitution when, you know, the only deal that you globalists want to do is destroy the Constitution. And that's the God's truth. The people need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up. You people out there who have been blinded by CNN and MSNBC, you know what? You need to go to one of our channels, especially ours, because our stuff is out there even before it gets on Fox News, and that's proven, ain't it, Jazz?
You know it, brother.
Yep. Well,
that's why we didn't have to film for 2 weeks, because once we caught Baghdadi, that completed the show we just filmed.
Yep. And we were talking about him even before that. I said, so here we go. Trump, I say Trump will never be impeached. There is no quid pro quo. There is no law that he broke. And I'll tell you what, Hillary, you want to come back in, you're going to have to answer about your husband. Then you're going to have to answer again about Benghazi and Somalia and all the other crap that you did. You're going to have to answer about Russian reset. You know, you're going to have to answer about the server, your emails, everything. I said, you got to be totally insane to even jump back into the race. There's so much dirt on you, you know. You're just a hateful woman. So that just goes back to tell you, President Trump knows about this worldwide pedophilia ring. Mark my word, you know. And it's got to be covered, and it will be. And with that, wake up, America.